What is up, guys? Today we are talking about, as you can see by the title, priorities, and an article that actually I'll link in the description, written by one of my friends, Mike Teixeira, owner of Reactive Training Systems. And yeah, I'm just going to share some ideas that I've had on this topic, as it relates to lifting and life and a whole range of things. So if you haven't already, I recommend you go read the article. It's called Strength Doesn't Care. And basically the premise of this article is that your strength levels, while heavily influenced by external life factors, doesn't care about those external life factors. So, you know, you might be in the middle of a training cycle, getting ready for a competition. You might be working hard, 40, 50, 60-hour work weeks to pay the bills. You might have had a child recently. You might have exams coming up for your studies. You might be moving house. You might be doing a whole range of other things in the rest of your life. And while all of these factors are undoubtedly going to interfere, with your training, strength doesn't care. It doesn't care if you're tired. Strength doesn't care if, if you can't get to the gym. Strength doesn't care if you can't eat properly. Strength doesn't care if you can't afford to eat good food. Strength does not care. You don't get sympathy points from strength. Strength doesn't say, oh man, this guy's been training so hard, gets to the gym at 10:30 p.m, trains till midnight, back up at 5 a.m. to get to work. Like, we really feel sorry for him. He deserves to get stronger, or she deserves to get stronger. It doesn't work like that. And I guess that's what I wanted to talk today about, is the fact that strength does not care about those other lifestyle factors. Now, there's a couple of different ways that you can kind of approach this, concept. And I remember when I first read this article a few years ago, I was improving quite rapidly in my powerlifting. I'd been to a couple of world championships at the time, I think. And I remember the mindset that I kind of approached this with was like, wow, like these are the sacrifices you've got to make if you want to become a really high level athlete. And that's what I did. And I was lucky enough because at the time I was living at home and I was only working part-time. I was at university studying anatomy. And work wasn't overly laborious. It was only part-time, like I said. University is not physically demanding. Didn't really have much financial stress, simply because I didn't have many bills to pay or anything like that. So it was pretty cruisy lifestyle, and as such I was able to dedicate myself to my training quite religiously. And unsurprisingly, my progress was quite good, my training was really good, competitions were really good. But I guess the other direction that you can kind of approach this strength doesn't care principle is when it comes to setting your priorities in your life. And I think that's kind of like the overriding message that I want to talk to you today about. I was doing a little bit of research, a little bit of study in economics. I don't know a thing about economics. And I thought it's probably something I should know a little bit about. If I want to be successful in business, if I want to be successful in life. And one of the things that I read about talked about, forget exactly the term, but it's something along the lines of opportunity cost, where it's by doing things, you are losing the opportunity to do other things. So for example, I'm filming this video, but I could be doing something else right now with my time. And that you've only got a limited amount of resources, you've only got a limited amount of time, you have only a limited amount of money and energy and resources. And where you choose to invest those resources is up to you. For example, the saying goes, life is short. And I sometimes disagree with that, because I'm like, well, life is 80, 90, 100 years long. That's the longest thing you'll ever do. But at the same time, it's long in the context that you can't do everything. Like, I would love to be able to do every single thing that's ever been done. I would love to study every field. Jesus Christ. I'd love to be able to work in every field. I'd love to be able to go to every single country and every single nook and cranny. I would love to experience all those things, but you cannot do it. One of the sayings that I have when I talk to or coach my lifters, they'll all know this very familiarly. Is that a word? Is not with that attitude. You know, I hate the word can't, C-A-N-T. I hate it. People would be like, well, I can't do that. And I say, not with that attitude. Because, well, if you've got the right attitude, you can do it. They say, everything's within walking distance if you have enough time. But sometimes you don't have enough time. Sometimes you only have a finite amount of resources. You only have a finite amount of energy and effort and things to give. And that principle holds true in your life, in every area. And in your life, you only have so much time to give. You know, I'd love, for example, to learn how to juggle. I'd love to learn how to juggle and juggle really well. But that means that I've got to spend time juggling, which is less time I could spend lifting or spending time with my family or, you know, doing other things. I'd love to learn how to do a whole range of other skills, you know, learn a new language, you know, again, but I don't have the time for that. But there's someone else that learned how to, you know, learned another language. And you go, well, they had time. And they go, yeah, but they don't put the same amount of time into lifting as I do, you know, because you've only got a limited amount of resources. So what I'm saying here is that strength doesn't care about your other priorities, your other hobbies, your other stuff in your life. And strength will improve proportionate to how much effort you put into your strength training. Duh. But the key here is that how much effort you put into your training is not a marker, is not the definition of how good of a person you are or how great of a person you are. And this is the driving message that I want to send to you. It is okay to be mediocre at stuff. Okay, in lifting or in other hobbies, there is this notion that unless you train hardcore, unless you're elite, you know, you're a beater, do you even lift, bro? All this kind of stuff. And I absolutely hate it, because you are no better of a person just because you are strong. It does not make you a better person. That is not how we identify in this society. Do I want to get stronger? Hell yes. Am I willing to make sacrifices to do that? Yes, I am. I make sacrifices in my time. Right? I'm sacrificing learning how to learn another language or learn how to juggle or learn how to do anything else because I'm investing that time into my lifting. But am I willing to sacrifice my entire life? Probably not. Am I willing to give up work, business, relationships? Probably not. And that's okay. That is perfectly okay. Similarly, there are others who are willing to sacrifice those things because, you know, when you have a population of 7 billion and hundreds and thousands, possibly millions of people worldwide lift barbells, there's gonna be someone who is willing to make more sacrifices than you. They will sacrifice their work. They will sacrifice free time. They will sacrifice friendships. And, not surprisingly, they will become stronger than you. Because strength doesn't care that you have you have, you know, 50-hour work weeks and you have a child to raise. Strength doesn't care about that. So this person who's on the other side of the world doesn't have a, I guess, healthy social life, doesn't have a family or much of a family, doesn't make a huge income or doesn't work overly hard, this person will be able to dedicate more of their time, more of their finite resources, more of their life to their lifting and to their strength and to their results, and they will become better than you. So I guess, like I said, that's my overriding message to you today, is that strength doesn't care about your other priorities, but the fact of the matter is that you do, because they're your priorities. You know, if you've ever turned to someone who doesn't train and said, why don't you get your butt in gear and start training? Like, you really need to reassess what your priorities are and then also reassess what that person's priorities are, because their priorities might not be lifting. They might not be interested in getting strong. That's okay. They have other interests that you don't find interesting, that aren't your priorities. And this is something that you learn quickly through your lifting career. I guess this is something that I wanted to share with you because it's something that pops up frequently, I would say, with younger lifters and inexperienced lifters. And this kind of goes back to my video that I did on longevity and about sticking to the game for a long time. And the fact that, you know, a lot of people, guys and girls, will get involved in the sport and they'll be progressing well, and they will succumb to the social and online pressures to, you know, train hard and sacrifice to win, and, you know, alpha this and, you know, whatever it might be. All the pressures there are associated with becoming high level, and they'll feel like a badass, you know, because I'm not going to go to that party because I'm going to stay home and recover. And again, that's fine. But as long as that is done so in the right mindset, from a position of general well-being, a position of general mental health, a position of clear priorities. And I guess don't get sucked into the puppy love that is lifting. I mean, we've probably all seen it. You've got a friend or a sibling who gets into a relationship at age 16, it's their first time, and they fall in love and they make shitty decisions, and it all just falls apart eventually. And the same thing happens in lifting. People fall in love with lifting straight away. They dedicate themselves entirely, but then eventually they're no longer willing to make the sacrifices that are required to become truly high level, to really progress. And rather than put lifting back in their priorities, they stubbornly, you know, either pursue powerlifting at a level, you know, I guess falsely placing it at a higher priority for themselves, living in denial, or they just quit. Because, you know, if I can't completely make progress and make good gains, then it's not worth it for me. It becomes a minimal priority. So, I hope you enjoyed that little rant. I don't know if I'd call it a rant, more just like a discussion. And I guess the question I have for you is, what are your priorities? What do you do? What do you enjoy doing that isn't lifting? Maybe lifting is what you enjoy the most. And if it is, good for you. Because for me, it's pretty damn high. But I enjoy eating pizza, enjoy hanging out with my friends, I enjoy going for bike rides and playing ball sports, and all these things fuck up my lifting. And you guess what? That don't matter. Because I don't care, because those things are priorities for me. So what are your priorities? What do you put in front of lifting sometimes? And when do you put lifting above other things? E.g. in a comp cycle maybe, you know, maybe 2 months before nationals, that's it, no more social events because lifting is now a priority. You know, those things are dynamic. This isn't a set thing, you know, it's a dynamic process. Priorities change throughout life, throughout the year, throughout seasons, whatever. You know, maybe after a comp, lifting becomes a lower priority. You can substitute that with other things for your own mental well-being. So, yeah, hope you enjoyed it. Leave me with your comments, share with your friends, like the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel, let me know what you think. Shoot me an email if you want some coaching, and I will speak to you in the next one. Cheers, guys. This is nearby where I live. It's not very fancy, it's just, I don't know. You're probably not going to be able to hear anything anyway. But yeah, this is where I live. Yeah, fuck that traffic. This is why I work from home, guys. Oof. And it goes this way as well. Yeah, nah.